All right, today we're going to do lesson 4.3, which is solving proportions. So in 4.2, we just looked to see if proportions were equal or not equal. And now today we are going to solve proportions. So first thing you'll notice if you're following along in your book is that the product of the first term of one ratio and the second term in the other is a cross product. If the cross products are equal, then the ratios form a proportion. So let's look at what that means to have a cross product. So this you'll need to put in your notes because this is a math theory that you'll need to have for later. So in the proportion, A over B equals C over D, where B does not equal 0 and D does not equal 0. The cross product A times D is equal to B times C. Okay, so A times D is equal to B times C. So if we look at example 1, you'll see that we are solving for a number, or for a letter, sorry. We are solving for the letter P, and we're going to use this cross product method in order to do that. So we have P over 6 equals 10 over 3, and we're solving for P. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this and this. Cross product, see, it makes a crosses right there. Okay, so P times 3 is going to equal 6 times 10. So 3P equals 60. Divide each side by 3, and you get that P equals 20. Okay, now again, we're going to have to show our work how we're doing this. And it seems like we're doing a lot just to get an answer that you could probably look at and figure out fairly quickly. But we have to get into practice of writing down our methods of how we are solving things. It's going to come in handy later on in math. So, again, it's important that you're setting up your proportions correctly, because if you don't set them up correctly, then you cannot solve for the missing number. So let's look at the little word problem at the bottom of page 158. It says each ratio must compare corresponding quantities in the same order. Suppose a boat travels 16 miles in 4 hours and 8 miles in X hours at the same speed. So we have to make sure we set that up correctly when we write it down. So we have 16 miles per 4 hours, and that's going to equal 8 miles in X hours. Okay, so we don't know what X equals. So what we're going to do is we are going to multiply across here. So 8 times 4 is going to equal 16 times x. 8 times 4 we know is 32. 16 times x, and 32 divided by 16, that cancels out, and that's going to be 2. So x equals 2. So it took them 2 hours to go 8 miles. Now looking at this problem, you probably figured that out pretty quickly because these are numbers that are divisible into each other. So 8 goes into 16 2 times. So looking at it that way, you could solve it. But we need to practice doing our cross product solving. So when things get harder to the point where you can't see the answer right away, you'll be able to do that. So that is all of the problems they have in the book that we're going to go through. I'm going to do number 1 just so you have one more to practice with, and then you can get started on your assignment. So number 1 is 6 over 10 equals 36 over x. Okay, and remember we're going to do that cross product. So we're cross multiply. 10 times 36 equals 6 times x. That's 360. 6 divided by 6 divided by 6. 6 goes into 36 6 times. And your answer is x equals 60. Okay, so I'll let you get started on your homework. It is fairly easy. You should be able to get this done pretty quickly.